Hello, everyone. June state of the market. We're doing it a little earlier in the month versus last month. We were over 2 weeks into June before we did it, I think, or very close to 2 weeks. So we're getting on the first day this month. I'm here with Al, as usual.
Hey, Bill.
And Adam, who is part of the organizing committee of the SoCo.
What's up, everyone?
Adam, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So getting excited. We have the national coming up in a few, 3 weeks, and we have a passenger show kind of going along with the national, the SoCo soccer convention. So we're excited. Al and I will be setting up, and we're excited to be doing that. And do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. Well, number one, thanks again for having me on. I love watching your content. It's been awesome and what the Discord is doing and done. Mainly, my background, even from my IG handle and everything, CLE soccer cards. Half the people don't realize that's Cleveland soccer cards, but I'm from Cleveland, born and bred. Came back after college and stuff, and been to the national a bunch of times. I love it. I'm a big fan of it. It just over the years as soccer grown, and I've kind of been a big soccer guy too, modern, vintage, everything, and just not as much representation, which we all know, and feel like over the years and back in 2014, I got back into the hobby again, about 2013, 14. I did growing up. I'm 48. And then with my son, the time he was like 9 or 10, went to the national at the IX Center, and then I remember they couldn't give away 2014 Prism boxes back then for World Cup. It was like, you buy everything and get a free Prism box, and now it's crazy. But it was something where there was maybe 3 or 4 people that even knew what soccer was, let alone had soccer stuff, and over the years it's grown, but truthfully at the national, the representation just hasn't grown as much as I think the hobby, the niche, whatever you want to call it, the soccer card piece to it. So over the years, I've seen all the different trade nights, all the different ideas, and it's an amazing community, as everybody knows. And the only issue I felt like is it's not a big enough community where we could have 3 different trade nights on the same night, and be splintered to a bunch of different places. Been to Atlantic City for the national, been to, I don't get to go to too many card shows. I coach my kids and my, soccer and stuff. But when I usually try to make a point to go to the national just to catch up with friends and see what's going on. And I felt like it's kind of everybody's been trying to do trade nights, has done an awesome job, and they're usually pop-up trade nights and then other trade nights, and even at the bigger trade nights there's just not much soccer, or everybody grabs a corner of the room and then all the soccer guys hang out, But again, as we've gone more international, I felt like, hey, listen, it's in Cleveland, we should do something soccer specific, and the idea initially started off as just being a centralized trade night, the idea of just everybody going to one place. I don't know how many people know, but in Cleveland, the IX Center is just its own standalone island next to the airport. So it's not like you could, in Chicago, walk to bars, restaurants, hotels. You have to take an Uber or take transportation. So I felt like this is not going to be a great situation for trade nights. And, hey, it's not downtown. It's kind of outside of it. So there's not many even hotels. You can't just be like, oh, we're going to go to a hotel and everybody comes to the Ritz or the whatever, the Marriott. So we were able, there's a gentleman, Scott, who's awesome. He kind of got connected. I didn't even know him before that. I was kind of looking around for like spaces and just, is there even a hotel, or do I do it downtown? Do I do it? My buddies run some big indoor soccer facilities. I was going to do that actually at a soccer facility and kind of incorporate some kind of soccer playing or futsal or something, but they're just too far away. So we ended up finding the UAW hall that was literally 10,000 square feet, wide open with the stage, and had about 150 tables and as many chairs as we wanted. They do bingo and special events in there, and it's 5 to 10 minutes from the IX Center, and it was affordable. And I'm like, why don't we just rent this? Scott found it, and we'll figure out how to fill it. We'll figure out what we're going to do. We'll figure out if anybody even wants to come. And that's initially kind of how we started, and it kind of really just started snowballing. And the beauty of it was, even to this day, we have a lot done. We're still open to what it looks like now and in the future, and getting input from the community of what people want, and I think that's kind of the beauty of it, is mainly what we're creating is just what the feedback from everybody stateside as well as internationally. We're gonna have, I think right now there's about 15 different people or 15 different countries going to be represented by either people coming and or setting up there, which is really cool. So I think that's going to be really fun.
Yeah, that's great. It's kind of, initially when like Al and I kind of were kind of talking about things like trying to do something along with a national or something, or some sort of soccer national or something. But this is like, honestly, like probably better than we would have come up with, just in regards to it, like being already at a location where people are going to be. And, especially like, even us trying to get a table at the national to get representation for soccer is so difficult, because everybody just keeps renewing their tables or their booths. And so it's just, it's for any new entrants, it's, it's like the cabal almost, right? You can't get in. And so it's, it's a good opportunity for the emerging markets, and of, soccer in particular. But yeah, definitely looking forward to it. So the plan is like, how many tables are there?
So there was 100 and now there's 110.
Okay.
And so what the goal was, I'm very transparent. We're like, nobody's making any money off of this. The idea is all the money from the tables and everything was just to help pay for free transportation, food, security, the venue,
Sure.
Everything that goes into it, which was supposed to be just a fun, like, just get a room to, like, this is almost like a second job, but like, it was something where there's going to be right now, we're calling it sponsors, but there's 110 people, which is about 50 to 60. I don't want to use the word vendors, not even vendors, but like people setting up officially. So like the idea of it being a trade night, but with people with guaranteed tables,
Sure.
So it's kind of like a mix between like a show, like people who have set up and have guaranteed spots, and then people who can just, there's rooms for tables to set up or the trade or walk around. But it's going to be a vibe of, I think, a combination of like kind of like soccer only trade show with trade show might be the right word, but like trade and show
convention.
Combined. Yeah, exactly. For anything and everything possible, and there's, I mean, right now it looks like, I think we've over 300 signed up just to RSVP, and I'm not even sure what they're RSVPing for, because it's free and like to come over, but like to get information about coming to the event.
Sure.
What we've done too is every vendor or people who are securing a table have actually made a donation for either wax or slabs or anything. We have over $6,000 of giveaways too, so it's free. And me coaching and having kids, what got me back in the hobby, I'm bringing a lot of, I know that's why I'm putting it, like my daughter who's 9 and my son who's 15, getting all of their friends and all the teams we coach and all the things to bring youth kids to the event, which are going to bring their parents, which is going to hopefully bring more eyeballs to, soccer collecting's a thing and how to do it, and just fresh people. Even if it's just Cleveland, Ohio to start,
sure,
that could be hundreds, if not hopefully maybe thousands of people if it goes viral, just getting into the industry and buying a pack or getting stickers or just going on eBay and seeing that's cool, collecting their own friends.
Yeah, social media post happens, a few other people see it, and that's kind of that organic growth, right? And kind of what we've been talking about in the Discord about how do we get people to how do we grow the demand side of vintage in particular, but just soccer, we could just expand that to just soccer in general. And like this is a good way to do that. And I'm just going to pop up the website on the screen. So the website is the SoCo expo.com. And so if you want to get some information, there's plenty to click on and read. And if you have any questions, you can hit the contact button. But
as you can see, we didn't spend a ton of money on the website. We're trying to keep everything.
Get information out there. That's all that matters. We don't need it pretty.
Yeah, a lot of Instagram, SoCo Expo on Instagram. If you follow CLE Soccer Cards, for me, I have everything posted and reposted. But again, the thought was initially too, how do we complement the national? Because I would say, and just being candid, a lot of people said they weren't coming to Cleveland. It was the one year they were going to skip, or they've been to it and they weren't going to come and go to whatever Chicago, whoever next year. And once we created this, hundreds of people were like, oh, well, we'll just come in for this and go to national as well. And it was like, because people are like, are you afraid the national said? I'm like, no, I feel like, number one, we're trying to do it at the same time. We're trying to complement it. We're not trying to compete with it. And I think we're bringing more people to the national as well. And the more people that can go to the national, have a soccer piece to it, is only going to hopefully bring more tables to the national, let them open up more to, like you said, emerging markets and stuff like that, because it just isn't happening right now, good or bad. It's just, we're not seeing.
It's the same stuff, the same vendors constantly. Yeah. So, and this is going on from 6 p.m. to 12 or to midnight. And it's 3 days. Is that correct?
Yeah. Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night.
Okay. So. And anybody that, there's you say there's shuttles. Is it shuttles from the IX Center?
Yeah, from the IX Center. So usually it's probably starting about 5:30 to about 6:37. They'll be shuttling from there.
Okay. Yeah. So, just pay attention and maybe check the socials, right? And see like if I'm sure there'll be more information popping up as we get closer.
Yeah. We're going to start. We didn't want to bombard everybody, but we're definitely going to be doing a lot more these kind of things lives and just getting word out there. We wanted to make sure, number one, people wanted to come and we filled it up, and then kind of we're at a waiting list now, which is a good thing. And then some of the cool things we're trying to do, we've talked about a little bit, is having my son involved, and he's very big in the, breaking and doing cards and collecting, to do a kids section and even doing a few educational panels. So we kind of have like a sound system with a DJ thing set up so we can kind of keep some control over the room a little bit. And there's a little stage there too. So some of the main sponsors are more the bigger soccer breakers. We're going to do an hour or two of breaking, like a night just for their thing. And then we're going to do some actual Q&A panels, which a lot of people have requested. So I'm formally asking you, Bill and Al, to be on a vintage panel if you're open to it. That would be awesome. And anybody else who's part of the Discord that who's going to be there, like to be on the panel, is reach out to me. I would love it represented. And any questions from people who can't even come, we can kind of help organize that too for a Q&A. So vintage was going to be one of the panels. Women's soccer, which is a big thing I've gotten very big into.
For sure.
Be a panel. I felt like that's something that should be well represented. There's going to be a lot of young girls, considering I coach them and I'm part of clubs and stuff, that are going to be coming to the event. We're looking at also international panel. So we have some people from Thailand, from Japan, from China, from South America, all coming in. Some are having, tables, some aren't, but like we're going to have an international panel, just what it looks like to collect in other places and the emerging piece. And it's kind of funny because I've had a few people reach out to me about, hey, coming to see what we look like in the United States with this event, to copycat it in Thailand or copycat it in Europe with a soccer only kind of thing, and kind of really build off of the momentum and what the community is doing. Because I know a lot of people are having trouble getting over to the United States, even still post-COVID right now. And they're like, hey, if this is there, how do we bring stateside U.S. people to Europe or to Asia, and then vice versa? So my gut is this is going to roll into something more and more, kind of connecting all the different collectors and being something just cool, something people, just meet cool people. That's what I love about this whole thing. Yeah, the cards and everything, but the people we meet and the experiences we share. And my son's an avid Arsenal supporter. So like he's already been in Arsenal breaks with my money, or his money, and meeting people across, like a couple guys are bringing, Arsenal breaks from England to the drop off his cards at the SoCo expo, which is really cool. So
that's awesome. So yeah, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. Well, we'll try to keep posting in the Discord any information as we get closer, and maybe we can even try to like stream some of these Q&As like on this channel. So that would be pretty cool to be able to share some stuff for people that can't make it. If it's possible, I'm pretty sure we can figure it out. But
and we can. I promise that Wi-Fi is going to be good. I've been to nationals where it hasn't, so if it's not, then egg on my face. But that was a big thing. We're paying extra for the enhanced Wi-Fi at the event. So I'm just taking from what my own experiences from other things of like what people want, and it's it's not everything fancy, but Wi-Fi is one of them. So
don't need anything fancy, really. I mean, Al will agree. It's like it's all about just meeting people and kind of networking and just sharing our joy of the sport and collecting and, you know, everything else. So
the education part of
yeah.
it. And the one thing for me is I'm nowhere near the collection you guys have in regards to it, but like there's some really cool high-end stuff that with armed security guard, I think would be really cool to be able to showcase some stuff. So we're kind of I'm pulling stuff out of,
out of the vaults. Yeah.
The boxes and everything like that, safety deposit boxes to bring some stuff and feel comfortable with armed security guards. So I have not done that before and I don't really do it too often, but I felt like I would love people to see cards that just haven't been around, and just understand what's even out there. Every day I find, obviously everybody does, but finds cool things that never seen or didn't know. And then just understanding where you found them, how the stories behind them are just as cool as the cards themselves or the stickers.
Hey, Adam, you said that all the tables are taken and you're taking a wait list. Are they all basically soccer people, or is there any from any of the other emerging sports like F1 or non sports cards or other things like that?
That's a great question. We were going back and forth, but we said let's at least keep it to soccer. I'm not saying somebody might not throw out F1 cards, like whatever. They can do whatever they want, but like it's soccer and more soccer, so just at least this first one, and we're open to like whatever, but we felt like if we couldn't fill it up, we were gonna be like, okay, well maybe we'll open up to the F1 group. We have lots of friends, and it's crossover, but we did very quickly. And then the international response was kind of been what was like, all right, well, we don't really, let's try and keep it soccer to start,
right.
So it's going to be pretty much 100% soccer.
Are you, how are people going to be able to find the shuttle from the national to the facility?
So we have, we just actually booked it so I can speak about it. It's a school bus, and we're going to have signs on about the SoCo Expo on the side of the school bus. And somebody from the SoCo Expo in a t-shirt, I don't know if you can see this, but t-shirt like this or something, they'll be standing there at the exit. So what happens at the IX Center is pretty much you walk out one entrance and then it's just a parking lot, and then I'm guessing Ubers and Lyfts will be there. And then there'll be a SoCo Expo school bus pretty much. And it'll be going back and forth like every 10, 15 minutes and somebody will be there from a volunteer or somebody will be there to make sure people know where and how to get it.
And more or less, you were saying from like 5:30 to 6:30 or something.
Yeah, 6:37.
Because the national closes at 6, right?
Yeah.
On those days, yeah. Okay, so
and again, I know they're having a trade show too, which is great. We're not trying to compete with it. We're just like, hey, we thought before when we did this, it's 6:00 it ends, and we'll take people after that. We don't want to pull people from the national. That wasn't the goal.
Perfect. And the cool thing is people can go do dinner, go do other things, and then they can still come like at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
Go have a few pops and then and then come and trade with us. So
completely. And I mean, it's a $5 Uber. It's like for
most places,
getting transportation, but the people we talked to were like, so you just want to go like 5 miles back and forth like 10 times? I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I guess we just wanted I just felt like people don't know they're there. And I know everybody can take Ubers, but it'd be cool to just be like, I don't have to think. I'm just going to go to National. I'm going to jump on the bus. I'm going to go here.
Yep.
And
it's one thing they don't have to worry about.
Yeah, exactly.
So, well, cool. We'll keep everybody posted. Adam, thank you so much for joining us. I'll talk to you in the background, and we'll get some things sorted.
Awesome. Well, number one, I'm excited to see you guys again in person and catch up and see some cool things and hopefully be part of it. The last thing I'll say is we're an open book. If anybody has any other ideas, my son's trying to maybe do a FIFA tournament or something in the corner, like for fun and like, because there's gonna be tons of kids, but we're doing giveaways, we're doing breaks, we're doing lots of just educational, fun stuff. Like I said, there's free transportation for the first hour to probably 2 hours till all the pizza and subs run out. There's free food each night. So that's cool. And then giveaways. So we're just trying to make it a cool place to hang out and super family friendly. So,
yep. Cool. Yeah. We're looking forward to it. So thanks again,
All
Adam.
right,
we'll be talking to you soon. Okay.
Bye.
See you, Adam.
Whoop. I went to remove him and I removed Al. So that's exciting. We're in the month of the national now and the SoCo. So looking forward to it.
Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So, all right. now we'll get into the state of the market. Boop. And yeah, I think there was some exciting things that happened, but we're going to start with PWCC. But regardless of that, anything new, anything kind of changed in the last 3 weeks?
Yeah, my bank account's about to get a lot lighter.
We'll share that in a little bit.
Yeah, but yeah, look at I think again, it's there's some hard things like in some of the markets. I felt like things have been soft, like particularly the George Best 8.5 and there was an Alifa 2.5, which sold for like 12 grand, which the last one had been bouncing back and it had bounced up to 30. So there's some kind of question marks out there for me that I had felt like we had seen through the first 6 months. I would say a general rise in the tide, specifically in higher end, higher graded cards. And there was a few question marks that just hit. Again, things can, fall under the cracks. Things can be anomalies. But yeah, there's a couple kind of cracks in that thesis, I would say. That's kind of from my point. But I don't know. What do you think? I don't want to draw too much into a few results, but
yeah, I don't know if I'm too worried about it. I mean, they're definitely lower than we expected, and it's one data point. It's the summer. We're into that time, where people aren't necessarily focusing on soccer as much, even with Euros and Copa. But we see it every year in the summer where there's just this dip or lull, and could that be part of it? Maybe. There's at least maybe a percentage of that variance is that. But, it's just we had one less buyer for those this year or this time. You know what I mean? And that's the demand didn't grow where it needed to. So, but yeah, those prices are definitely a pretty sizable amount less than what we expected. So,
yeah, I mean, especially those two. There may be others, but those two are very interesting, and I can't really explain them.
Yeah.
In a parallel universe, when I wasn't thinking about other things, those would have been things you would think about picking up, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think all in all, though, yeah, I mean, it's fun collecting. I think there's a lot of eyeballs on things, a number of things you don't typically see have been coming out.
Yep.
So that's exciting for the market. And as we've talked multiple times, you need things to sell to have a market. If things don't sell, you just don't have a market. So
yeah, and I mean, we kind of predicted this. Maybe it was even a couple of years ago, with the demand dropping, and there's prices aren't getting there's not as many high prices for a lot of the more common stuff. If somebody is motivated to get some money, they know they have to release the more difficult things to let go, if they want a decent return on what they're selling. And so we're seeing some hands, the grip starting to loosen a little bit on some items for some people. So, yeah. Why don't we hop into the PWCC? There wasn't too much in the Premier auction for last month, but we may as well look at it.
Yeah.
So, let's see here. And I looked at the Heritage, and there was really nothing Heritage auctions that sold last month. So, so here we are for the Premier. Nothing vintage, but some pretty good sales, I guess. Or
well, this Chrome, if I'm not wrong, this 1 of 1 with Holland, CR7 and Messi, I want to say sold for like 140 grand the first time it went.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I saw somebody screenshot that in the Discord.
You're talking, I mean, that was what sold last year. So that's to lose a cool 100.
Yeah. That's a big chunk.
And if it sells for 38, that includes the BP, right? So
yeah,
man, you just had the ultimate bath taken on that one.
Yeah. That's a severe loss.
And then the PSA 9 Messi 71 bis, I think kind of bottomed out around 18 to 20.
Yep.
And now we've been seeing high 20s to low 30s. So I think this is a stalwart. I mean, the 10s haven't changed. The meaning that the pop is like
pop.
20, and the 9s have gone up a little bit from like 40 to 44 or 45, maybe even 46. Still very, very few in 9 and 10 condition for, what I mean, he even makes Pip's list of greatest players. So he makes Pip's list of greatest players. You got to get this one.
Well, there you go. Yeah. I mean, that's a discerning list. So,
for those of you who don't know, there's some great fun conversation on the Vintage Soccer Discord about top players of all time, and Pip has a very well thought out and reasoned list, although it would conflict with many other lists that you've seen,
which I appreciate. Like, I appreciate hearing alternative views, and although I don't necessarily weight things the same way, I can understand and appreciate and respect the way he does. So
yeah, it's about perspectives.
Totally.
That is a perspective, and I think it's an interesting and thoughtful one that you can agree with or disagree with, but in the end it creates conversation and thought. Exactly. I think all those things are good, and you can tap into the to some of that conversation if you're interested or have not a lot else to do. Jump onto the Vintage Discord and take a look, because it's actually kind of a fun conversation.
Totally. And so I think we have a couple other items, but not much for us to talk about. So we'll just scroll through the weeklies real quick and go from there. So this was the PWCC auction that ended 2 weeks ago. And just let's see what we have here. We have PSA 4 Aquarela for about $7,000.
I feel like this one's getting. I mean, I need to go on the card ladder and check out some graphs, but I think the Aquarela is finally showing some chinks in the armor. There was a PSA 2 that just sold for like $1,000. That used to be where ones were. So I think there's the supply piece is just starting to have some chinks in the armor from my perspective.
Yeah, well, we'll see if that continues, or it's just one of those things where, it's, again, just a blip. But, I mean, it does appear that way. I agree. We have a PSA 6 Panini Eusebio for $1,200. That feels low to me.
I think the last sales were like in the $1,500-$1,600 area.
Okay.
And
that's a good grade for that.
It's been as high for this type of a grade. It's been as high as a couple thousand. So this felt like a low sale, again, to kind of go along with some of the stuff we had talked about with the best and the Alifas, and now we're talking about the Aquarellas. And what do all of those cards have in common? There's some level of supply. Yeah. So I think that's kind of the narrative, like a broader narrative. If there is supply, it's generally struggling. So these are all among the higher pops, well, with the exception of the best, but of the higher pop type cards. And then look next to it to prove this point. I would say it's very rare to see the green border Mirror Sport Pele 1960. Yep. But this is actually from a card set, like this is the ace, right? So which is kind of cool, but that pulls 2,100, and I don't think that card in the past, like pre-boom, would have been almost 2x of an Eusebio in really high grade. So right. I think there's this rarity / perceived rarity is right now running the day a little bit on certain items.
Yep. Here's the PSA 2 $1,100.
That was that auction. Yeah.
Well, there was another one that was under 1,000, I believe. We have the Taddy Bloomer, sell for 1,000.
honestly, I feel like that's a good buy.
Yeah.
Those they're not that common, and it's an epic card. So I thought that one went a little low.
Yeah. We have a PSA 1 Titulares, 50 for 600.
Super low here.
Yep. I'd be happy as the buyer.
Yeah, what was that? Jorginho went for like 800, but it's one of the highest grades. Yeah, that PSA 5. It's one of the higher grades of the card. So, not shocked there. I think a lot of people will say that's his rookie. He actually has a 64 Quisho. But I really don't like that PWCC continues to put rookie in titles of anything. Right, and it's just
just don't put it. Just put it.
Yeah,
just put the label of what it is and let people make their decisions off of that. Like,
yeah,
I mean, that's what we should be doing in every auction. Honestly, even eBay.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't think that people are getting duped by that necessarily, but just if they would, I think you really have to take that. I think you just got to take those off.
I mean, there's some that are accepted, and I get that, but like there's, and I get it. Like, I mean, somebody says, "Hey, can you put rookie in the title?" And the data entry person's like, "Oh yeah, sure." You know what I mean? Like they don't know, so not the correct reason, but all right. Let's pop over to the one that just ended. Yep. So
I picked up this Leonidas, needed to match it with a friend. Actually didn't have this one.
Yeah, you don't see that too often.
Yeah, so there's another like drawn one of him from, I want to say 41 from Americana.
Mm-hmm.
But for whatever reason, this one's always evaded me, so decided to pick that one up.
Good. Maradona, 2.5 for 2,000. That seems like that's really down. Like that seems like a really good buy.
Yeah, but I think this one was this the psychedelic one, or is this?
It totally is. The registration's totally wonky.
So I think this. I actually think that given the registration and the psychedelic nature of it, it's what is a real 2.5, which it means never stuck. Go for and I'm thinking that it's north of this number. Could be wrong, but I just feel like that registration had to drive some demand away.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But when they grade, they take that into account, right? Like the registration. I think they do, or at least they say they do.
Yeah, I think they do, and the fact that it's a 2.5 means that it was never stuck. So
theoretically, yeah,
it should be that way. So there's no paper loss, which these were blank back and have a cardboard back, so it doesn't really bother me paper loss on this one, but it does put it up a level in my mind, because to have a never stuck one's a big deal, but the registration is so bad that had to have an effect of knocking it down.
Yeah.
And then look at that Beckenbauer sticker, right? That World Cup sticker right there. It goes for $1,500. I know it's an 8, and there aren't many 8s. What does it say here? 3.
So it's one of 3 non-graded hider.
Yeah, it feels to me. I mean, and I know he appears to be a short print in the set for whatever reason. So there's a number of reasons to like that card, but $1,500, seems like a real solid price.
Yep.
For that sticker. I mean, it's not the rarest sticker on the planet for sure. It's nice to have it in a high grade, but that's that surprised me a bit. I thought it was going to do. I mean, I was surprised that it cleared 1,000, to be honest with you. And I think that's a good sign for both Beckenbauer and 70 World Cup stickers.
Yeah, definitely. All right, we got a PSA 2 Cruyff rookie for $1,500.
I thought this one was overgraded. It had a bunch of stuff on the back still.
Yeah.
And so I thought this should have been more like a 1. So it doesn't bother me that much. But yeah, I think it was overgraded for a 2. And I think because of that, the price would be a little less than I would expect a nicer 2 to go for.
And here's a one that went for almost $1,500. So only, let's say, $600 less than the 2.5. And it's got a little bit of a notch here where it's missing. So I think we see a floor, right? Like for like just the disc in general. Removing football or American football shaped ones.
The unique. This can get a special kicker. Look at the Queagle still falling hard.
Yeah, 930. I mean, the back was pretty stained.
It's still
but to get under 1,000 for it is like that surprised me.
Yeah, sell for less than 1,000.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't remember last time I saw that, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I saw the last Queagle that I saw was jacked pre-boom, sell for about 1,000. So
okay, yeah,
that's really kind of a new low for the Queagle.
Leonidas here for 720.
Yeah, and that's the back wasn't great, but these are super rare stickers, you know.
Yeah.
I would, you know, definitely if you don't have some Leonidas stickers and you see them, you know, that was this a 1 too? Yeah, so it wasn't even like an authentic. I didn't think this was a bad pickup at all.
Yeah. We have an early Eusebio, you know, looks like it was definitely soaked off of a sheet. It's pretty beat up, but to get an early Eusebio for $500, that feels like I mean, if that's your price point, you're never really going to have an opportunity like this again. I don't think so.
Yeah. And this one was, you know, the nicer copy of this sold for like, which was a 2 or something, sold for like 12,000, right?
Yeah.
So you get an authentic for 500. Yes, I'm certainly eye appeal, but any of these stickers in any condition is a big deal.
Yeah.
I would understand why, if you had a little bit more budget, you would want to pass on this. Totally get it. But I'm also not, you know, I also completely understand $500 for an incredibly rare early, you know, rookie Eusebio is kind of a unique opportunity.
Yeah. Well, if you want it now, you can go on eBay. It's listed at 4,000. I got the update today and I happened to see it. So
that's a hell of a flip.
I mean, hey, yeah, I think a lot of people are doing that now because there's just more eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, if it gets 2,000, he still made 4x. So
yeah.
Yeah, this was interesting. Actually, the Mazzola to me a bit. It's a PSA 7, but it's cut from a sheet. And to get over 500, I felt like those actually I'd be happy as a seller.
Yeah, I know that. I think again, remember how we're talking about the premiums on higher grades? This one clearly gets it for 7.
Yeah.
Most of these you'll see will be in the 4 or below range. So seeing you know, a 7 is rare if you're a Mazzola fan, which why wouldn't you be? You know, it doesn't seem egregious. It just seems slightly high. If you just wanted a copy of this card, you could get one for less than $75, and it's probably in a 2 or a 3 shape. So, you know, is it consistent with grade multipliers? Probably. But, you know, we're used to hanging out in the vintage where a 1, 2, or 3 are our norms. So sometimes we don't even know what to do with 7s or other things like that, right?
That's totally it. All right. Yeah. I mean, I think we're through that. Now we'll get into the Goldin Elite. We'll start out with a doozy.
I'll leave the room for this one.
Yeah. Let me do the talking. Just keep quiet, please. So yeah, let's see if something's interesting. All right. So here we have the earliest freed card we've ever seen, and it's beautiful. And I mean, the whole front and back, just the design is amazing. And we've really never seen this issue until recently. Did we even know it was a thing? So I guess you could take it from here.
Yeah, I mean, look at early Freeds are tough, right? For a long time we had hypothesized there would be stuff from Brazil, but the earliest card we had was he shows up on some later Brazilian issues from the 40s, like an Americana. He shows up on some Balas Ídolos from the 30s, but it looked like the earliest one, which is kind of crazy, was the dollar.
Yeah.
Which you can generally date from 25 to 28. His probably was showing up more like a 26, at least from what I could think about. And then there's a couple earlier Brazilian ones that had never been graded. And there's some questions on whether they're 1921 or 22. These are far from rookies, right? They're like, here we're using rookie card. He started playing well before the early 1920s. And there's another card that is just kind of his head as well. So these are pretty rare, cards. There's a few copies known. This particular issue, actually, I was unaware of until like 6 or 9 months ago, and a whole bunch came out. And it's just a really cool design, as you can see. And then this one, they use his nickname El Tigre, which is just freaking awesome. And I love the slab. PSA did a great job on the slab, and the backside is just beautiful as well. So ultimately, I decided, I had on my top 10 list an early Freed. It was one of my top 10 lists. This one came up. I had a lower price in mind. Then I discussed it with my wife, and she gave me kind of the green light to go out and get something on my top 10 list this year. And so this is what we decided to go after. And I didn't realize that it had set the kind of pre-war record for soccer cards at the time, which I'm actually fine with. I'm not going to stand up here and say this is the best pre-war card in the world, but I'll definitely say it's in the short list of candidates. And so, we figured out a way. Actually haven't sent the check in yet, but figured out a way to get it. So pretty excited about it. It went a little bit higher than I thought. I thought it was probably going to go, in the 50s. And it didn't. It went higher, and I'm still absolutely okay with this for the long run, just to sit in the collection. I think obviously if I turned right around and wanted to liquidate it now, I'd get much less of a price. But for now, I feel pretty confident about the long run potential for it. And really, at the core, it's going into the collection. That's really not something I'm looking to ever really move, at least while I'm the owner.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's just gorgeous. Like, it's like one of it just feels like the 20s have just across the world, just to me the just best looking sets, pre-digital world. And I just love the design. I mean, it's so ornate, when they had such a it wasn't as easy to print things, and it just, the work that was involved to do all of this is just thinking about everything that it took to make the card, even before, let alone everything else.
Cutting it out, the organization, and these, like most Brazilian stuff that you'll see from the 30s on, is
paper,
terrible quality, right? This card is I haven't held one in hand, but it certainly is of quality, and you can see the back too is of quality. And the other people, like Dave or Scott, that have cards from this issue, well, they also are like, hey, these cards in hand are even more cool than what the scans look like. So super happy. I mean, look at that back. It's just weird. It's like 1920s, script. It's just awesome. So
it is awesome.
Super happy. A little surprised and overwhelmed that in the end we got there, but super happy about it.
Yeah, well, that's awesome, man, and congratulations. It's really cool that you're going to be giving that away at the SoCo expo. We're gonna raffle it off. I'm
gonna give away a scan. I'll sign the scan. And,
yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Before we go on, there was a question here. How have Topps Panini not introduced cut autos of players like Bloomer, Meredith, Garincha? We're going to do Messi CR7 as the hit for the next 20 years. would make new product fun for guys like us. I mean, it's a great point. Like, I mean, it'll be cool when that happens. I think they will at some point when they see that there is a demand for it. And that would be huge for like, especially vintage collectors. Cause again, it's a gateway thing, right? Like you put it into a new product and somebody pulls a Steven Bloomer and you're like, who the hell is this guy? You know, and all of a sudden you read up on him and you're like, wow.
Yeah, I like if they do it well, like the legendary cuts cards.
Yeah.
You know, I think that would be amazing. I've seen some of these cuts where it's just like a thin border and just like the signature. That just doesn't do it for me. You know, show me something about the card and the player, you know, on the card with the cut. And I think that's a totally different thing. I mean, I hope that happens, and you know, they could go. The names that they could have are tremendous, right? I mean, because there's you know hundreds and thousands of players that are going to appeal to different people for different reasons.
Yeah.
And you know the cost will run the gamut. You can get yeah, thanks, man. You can get huge. I mean, every product needs expensive ones to get. So, let's like what would be a rare. I bet Grinch is actually hard and expensive because, later in life he had some serious,
issues,
drinking problems, and wasn't very in the public eye. And then it was kind of before a lot of signatures were happening. So, he's probably tough, but you're going to have other ones like Beckenbauer that is prolific signer, right? So
yeah, but you're still happy if you get that,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think that there's so many ways you can build a product like that and still make money if you're the manufacturer, if you're Topps or Panini.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see that. In the way we all, well, not all, but a lot of us got kind of excited about the Tatty issue.
The Futera Tatties.
Yeah, and it was just kind of a rerun of the Tatties, and we get excited because it just has more of an appeal to the way that we collect. Those types of cuts would be absolutely killer.
Yeah, that would be exciting and very easy to do. Just have a few major hit pieces, and cut autos hit hard in the 2010 in baseball. Big emphasis on that time on them for sure. Issue is, yes, these autos are way harder to source. Yeah, I agree. But like Al just said, I mean, there's certain players that are very easy to get, and you just gotta pick and choose and have different degrees of difficulty for the players. And you could have 90% of them be easy autos, just have them be big players. And I know that there's even like cut checks from they cut the autos from checks.
They're definitely out there too. I mean, they could do this. I mean, it's a global sport. You have so many options, right? I mean, I'm imagining you could get Hugo Sanchez to sign. You could get just lots of stars. We were watching Peru the other day, so you could get Kobe for these types of guys that are pretty cool. They had I did not know that they had cut autos of Best and Puskas.
I guess Al's gonna be doing some digging soon.
I was just gonna say, there goes I'm gonna eBay search them. That's pretty fucking cool.
See, even my dog's interested. So,
but anyway, yeah. So where were we? Yeah. So that was pretty big. Of course, these are some big cards next to it. The matchups. I mean, I would have expected that card back in the boom to do probably a couple 100,000. That one's number 5. Yeah. The PSA 9 goes for 30,000, 32, and the PSA the other one goes for roughly 50% more in a BGS 9.5.
Yeah,
that's kind of good news, right?
Yeah, that's good that it's still holding, but probably not. It's so much closer to the 9 than the 10, though.
So I actually bid on that Messi there that sold for 12,000. The bottom right, the gold 10 breakaway prism. Yeah, I bid like $1,000 for it, but so I feel like I got
barely lost.
Barely lost. I wasn't even willing to pay the BP.
Well, that shows you.
This
Yeah,
one was
here's
a
the two we were
disappointment.
talking about earlier. The 2.25 Alifa for 12.8, and then the PSA 8.5
Yeah.
Best for 12.2. So those are the ones that we feel really undersold.
I would have been certainly on the best, really strong on that. But I obviously, when I was writing a big check and thinking about going up, something fell aside.
Yeah, your brain was elsewhere.
Yeah, exactly. But that's whoever picked that up, I think, got a hell of a deal.
Yep. But
I think didn't you sell your 3 for like 9,000?
Yeah, I think it was a 3 or 4, and I sold it for. It ended up. What was it? 9,600 after BP. So.
And this is an 8.5, and it was clean.
Yep.
I looked at this one.
All right. Here's actually a freed here. PSA 1 free Dolar, like you were talking about, sells for 5,000.
Yeah, and this was the famous teardrop freed.
It was.
And it sold for like 8,500 raw when it sold. So I think this is graded. They probably had to pay a big grading fee. So 5,000 doesn't feel bad. It's actually kind of cool. It has some, in my mind, it has some hobby legacy because of this teardrop. And the rest of the card looks pretty cool. So
to be clear, the teardrop is a hole.
Yes.
So
yeah, but still freaking cool, nicely centered. Everything else on the car looks great.
It looks super clean. Yeah, no doubt.
I do wonder how it got there. That little, because it's not like a bug hole. It's like perfectly circular.
It looks like on the back it was pulled. It was stuck, and they probably pulled it off of an album, and it just ripped up through the front.
I don't remember the back, but yeah, that would make sense then.
Here you go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I think that's just kind of what happened. All right. Let's see.
But that did get a numerical grade, right? Like 1, right?
It did get a 1, yes.
Yeah. So that's good. There were some nice, that Pele 62. I always love this one. Hate the slab on this one, but 4,400 is a big number for.
It is a big number
in my mind.
Because those traditionally have decent like condition, from what I recall. I mean, I know there's some beaters, but it feels like they're not
maybe there are better ones. In my mind, they typically average about a 2, so this one's better than normal. And this one is pretty sharp. Look at Ed.
I actually misclicked. I didn't mean to click on this one. I wasn't going to give you any pub, Ed. I feel like you overpaid, Ed. I'm kidding.
The 62 Pele, this EDI, it's just a great card. This particular one is super crisp. So, I don't fault anyone for going after a big, but 4,400 is a big number for a 60s, Pele.
It feels that way.
In the wrong slab, right?
This was a follow-up to the MLS Renaissance cut autos. He believes they were serialed 101.
But that's a bummer.
Yeah, there's one out there. Yeah.
All right, I'll have to saving an eBay search.
Top 10 list.
I'm not so sure about that.
But. Let's see. Here's
there's a lot of discussion
PSA 9.
I mean, this I'm just saddened by this card and what's kind of happened with it, with the people not really trusting the grades. It's a bummer. That Messi 2006 underneath from the World Cup right there, going for still 20. I know this card blew up at one point. Still, to me, it just seems such a high price. I mean, you can get a rookie Mundi Chromo, PSA 9 and still have $800 left in your pocket, So I'd rather do that than this card, but I get the appeal, first World Cup, all that type of stuff.
So, question on this, like the uncut sheets with the Maradona on it for 2,000. Doesn't that feel like an exceptional bargain?
It definitely feels light versus what I thought it was going to do. And I actually thought about bidding on this, but again, my head was elsewhere. And then, this is almost like a display piece for me.
Yeah.
And I just didn't have any place that I could display it. So, that's why I
right
passed.
behind you.
But it is cool, right? And you can see how they were. And, I definitely thought this was light. And I'm sure the seller is incredibly disappointed.
Yeah, I would be severely disappointed if I was the seller, honestly. Hopefully you guys aren't watching.
Yeah, I would. My first thought was that's like 5K plus item.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I thought 5K was the floor, honestly.
And then this Pele that I always hate when they cut out the record like this, but I guess I need to be fine with it. It just seems like 2,000 for an 8 on this with such a thin border. I don't love it, but I guess chasing the grade and the registry, maybe that's part of the angle here. I don't know.
Yeah, and I feel like that price has dropped a lot because I remember seeing just the solo Pele selling for more because I think there was like more uneducated buyers and they were like, oh, this is a cool, solo Pele, but it's not actually because there's a Garincha next to it. And
yeah.
But yeah, I think we kind of got through most of everything.
Yeah, just on the Roberto Carlos there, that's a bump up from the last 9. Like the last 9 was like 1,500. And this was super fun. This box with 100 1986 Mexico packs. That was super fun. Again, I didn't win this, but it was really fun to think about $20 a pack for 1986 Mexico packs. It's kind of fun. So, those were a few other things that kind of, piqued my interest, so to speak.
Sure. All right. I think we kind of got through everything. I appreciate. You have anything else, Al? You have. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, thanks on the free. It'll be a journey to get it kind of in hand at some point. But yeah, excited about it. Excited about the national here in a couple weeks. Going to be great. Excited about July 4th. There's just excitement, nervousness about the game. It's going to start in about an hour. But hey, thanks, Work Hard Harry. Appreciate it. But it is what it is, and in the end, if the country with how many million people live in Uruguay, like 4 million, kick our ass, I guess I expect it.
Yeah, they're playing so incredibly well. Like they're fun to watch. Like I'm biased. That's like kind of my South American team, but
yeah, and like Brazil doesn't look that good. I mean, they looked okay in the last game, but overall they didn't look very good. Argentina, they look fine, but not like crazy good. Right now, I'm like watching as many games as I can. I'd say, in the Euros, like Spain looks good.
Yeah.
And Colombia, I really like what I've seen from Colombia. So let's, it's still going to be fun here in the next couple of weeks. Imagine if Colombia goes to the final. Champ is going to be out of his mind. I may have to go down to Miami just to see what the hell happens down there.
Yeah, just to see Champ.
Yeah, just to see, just like I'll pay for the ticket to watch what happens to Champ. When, so yeah, no, that's it. But no, it's good stuff. June was a great month. Crossed 1 out of the top 10 lists. Now I'm considering what else to put on, but I'm not in any hurry. It's going to be a little bit of a breather here for a while.
Yeah, you need to put a lower dollar card on there just so if you do come across it. But yeah, thanks to Adam for joining us to talk about the SoCo. Hopefully you guys, if you are in Cleveland, will give it a shot. At least stop by, say hello to Al and I. And yeah, that's it.
And if you're on the fence about going to the national, you can, just go to the SoCo. I don't think I'll spend much time at the national, browsing the tables, because I never find anything anyway.
No, it's just go there, do your grading, do all that kind of stuff, meet people, and then we'll do all the other stuff at the SoCo.
Awesome, man. Great to see you.
Yeah, pleasure. And thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you next month.